Hi there everyone and welcome to another edition and the final edition for 2019. The Big V Finals Preview. Steve Chalmers, Laura McIntosh. And it's a short week this week because there's just 4 divisions left up for grabs in season 2019, which means we have a minimum of 4 games, maximum of 8 games left on the agenda. And there's some pretty impressive grand finals still to come.
Yes, there is, and it will be interesting to see, will we get to a game 3 this weekend?
Yes, that's right, because all 8 thus far have all been done and dusted in just the 2 games. Season sweeps left, right and centre.
Yes.
So, look, before we move into the 4 games or the 4 divisions we have on offer, obviously last week we had 2 live streams on offer, which we had a heap of views, nearly 6,500 views watching the Champ Women over on Basketball Victoria, nearly 5,000 watching the Champ Men on Big V's Facebook page. And so this week we've got our Championship Women Game 2 moving across to the Big V Facebook page. 7:30 p.m. is the tip-off between the Werribee Devils and the Keilor Thunder. Obviously the Devils lead 1-0. Coverage starts at 7:25 at Keilor Basketball Stadium, and it looks to be a cracker.
Yes, look, were you surprised of the result last week? You were there.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Probably walking in, I was probably leaning towards Keilor. Certainly watching the game throughout, I thought Werribee had the ascendancy, but certainly the way Keilor just found a way to keep in the game showed probably some good signs heading into next week, knowing that they have a few things and a few minor things that they can tweak and work on, and they're back in the contest. So I'm looking forward to getting down there on Saturday night at Keilor. And look, I'm fully expecting to be there again on Sunday. I think this is going to be a really good series. We'll touch on Game 1 a little bit later on, as well as Game 2 and 3 and who we're going to highlight. But certainly Champ Women, 7:25 p.m. on Big V's Facebook page. But make sure you tune in. If you can't get down to the Keilor Basketball Stadium, make sure you're on the live stream. Let's kick straight into it. Division 2 Women, Game 2 and 3. Pakenham now host. Even though they are the second ranked team compared to Melbourne Uni, they won a qualifying final a couple of weeks ago.
And they got that trip straight through to the grand final.
Correct. They earned the bye and the home rights. So even though they lost one more game throughout the season, they have home court. Last week was a complete wipeout for Pakenham.
Yes, the opposite, I guess, to the game that was there 2 weeks earlier, which was the qualifying final. The Pakenham won that earned them that bye and trip straight through to the grand final and hosting rights of games 2 and 3. It was even different to the contest they had there in the latter part of the season. I want to say round 15 or so, but that is a bit of a guess off the top of my head, which was really evenly matched. So look, I don't think we'll see it that much of a blowout again this weekend. I think we've seen teams, I guess Sunbury was one of them, Keilor potentially this weekend, just gone in Champ Win and with the bye struggling a little bit to really get back to that really hot form they're at. So I'm expecting Pakenham to pick it up a bit this week. But I still reckon Melbourne Uni might take the series.
There you go. 7 p.m. at Cardinia Life this Saturday. Game 3, if required, back there on Sunday at 12 p.m. Looking forward to seeing Steph Powell, Ellie Coots and Keely Patterson all trying to combine just to keep their season alive on Saturday night for the Warriors. Division 2 men, we enter Game 2 and 3 between Camberwell and Southern Peninsula. Tightest of tightest battles on last Saturday night. I'm a little bit weary for Camberwell's chances, just the way the game played out. I know it was a very close game, but the way it sort of happened, obviously Max Barkley was excellent. Troyce Manassa was quiet.
But they still won by 3 points.
Exactly. If anything sort of changes, it probably leans more closely into the Sharks' favour.
Yeah, I guess the only thing that I'm wary of is in that semi-final series when Craigieburn then had to go down to Germana to try and steal a game, and they did manage to steal one, and I didn't think that would happen at all. So I think if Craigieburn can do it, and obviously they had a lot of star power in their team as well. Jamin Smith was just one name off the top of my head. Then I think Camberwell can do it too. They went down there in the latter part of the season and got quite convincingly beaten. I don't think they're going to want to do that again, but so I think it is possible, but I think the Sharks will take the series.
Yeah, fair call. Obviously, Mark Fernandez, Mark Jeffers, they can combine. Orlando Mean, obviously Max Barkley, who we spoke about, can get the Dragons even back to 1-1 and then anyone's game on the Sunday. Division 1 men, Warrandyte stole game 1 on the road against Sunbury. by 14 points at Boardman Stadium. We go back to Warrandyte now, Saturday 7 p.m, Sunday 1 p.m. if required. Do we see Sunday?
I don't know if we're going to this week, unfortunately. I would like to, because when Sunbury's really on, it's really exciting. Ish Sanders was good again on the weekend, 22, but nowhere near as damaging as he was in that series against Shepparton. So I'd say that the Warrandyte defence really focused on locking into him and keeping him down. Another concern for Sunbury is that Brenton Charles will probably be back this weekend.
Yes,
And he was huge
yes.
in that second semi-final against Keysborough at the
30+.
Warrandyte Sports Complex. So that's a concern. But look, don't write off Sunbury. In the Div 1 men's competition, so many teams were on top throughout the season.
Yeah.
Sunbury was one of them, Warrandyte was one of them. It's not one of those divisions, I don't think, where we've had a clear leading team all year. So look, anything can happen, but I reckon Warrandyte will take it.
Oh, look, I'm glad you brought that up because I tend to agree. There was probably 4 or 5 teams that I thought were really in the chase for grand final positions, and of course ultimately the championship. And obviously Warrandyte finished on top. Sunbury were on top. Western Port were on top. There was Shepparton were on top for some time as well. So there were a good 4 or 5 teams that were there, and the Venom and Jets have made it. But then it seems to me that the Venom have even stepped it up another notch.
Yeah.
And they can potentially go and win the championship Saturday, or if not Sunday. And finally, we've been talking about it at the start of the program here, Championship Women Grand Final Game 2, Saturday 7:30 p.m. at the Keilor Basketball Stadium, Sunday again if required at 2 p.m. The Thunder and the Devils. The Devils lead 1-0. Big time game last week, especially from Alicia Jenkins and Erin Bowman. I think both sides are going to rely on those 2 stars again.
Yeah, look, I definitely agree with you on that one. Werribee, in, I guess, this final series, I think have been less reliant on Alicia Jenkins than they had been in the first 2/3 of the regular season since she got injured and has been working her way back to her best form, which I think you probably saw last week. So I do think they have that going for them. However, I think a couple of the other Keilor stars were probably a little quiet last week, so I don't think they'll be wanting to do that again.
One player I wanted to highlight from last week was Werribee's Georgia Tauschke. She obviously hasn't had her name up in lights such as Jenkins and Ellsworthy and the like, but she was excellent on both ends of the floor, hit some key shots when it mattered, and then Alexis Violatama was also hitting some key shots in that
look at that pronunciation.
Fourth quarter that really put Werribee on their merry way. So I've found signs where Keilor can tweak and get themselves back into the contest. But if Werribee just do everything by committee again, like they similarly did in Game 1, they'll go a long way to winning Game 2 or one of the games to lift the championship trophy. If Anita Bandolowski can find some form again, she was held relatively quiet last Saturday, 4 of 20. She's still finding the right shots. That was the difference. She goes back home to a place she's more comfortable with. Loves playing Werribee, mind you, throughout the season. And then you combine Alexis Harris and Steph Collins. They don't get into foul trouble. This game can be turned on its head, and we can go to 1-1. We can go to Game 3. I'm fully expecting Game 3 because
Yeah,
I think these two teams are so closely matched. We've seen it throughout the season. They've played 4 times, and guess what? 2 apiece. So I'm looking forward to it. 7:30 p.m. Keilor Basketball Stadium. If you can't make it, we've said it before, Big V Basketball Facebook page live stream. Make sure you check in and see what all the action is about. So we're tipping potentially 1 game to go 3.
Yeah, I think
out of 12.
I think this series will be the series that stops it from being a sweep of Game 2s, if nothing else. That's my tip.
There you have it. 1 series potentially going to 3 out of all 12 in season 2019. It's been a blast to preview the finals over the last 5 or so weeks. Laura, best of luck to you tipping Game 3 in Championship Women. And make sure you get out there, support your associations. If not, jump on the Facebook page, and we'll see you next time on another Blue Hoosh production.